The 2017 Grenfell Tower disaster, which claimed the lives of 72 people in West London, could have been avoided if lessons had been learned from a fire at Knowsley in Merseyside in 1991. That revelation was contained in the report today, which has followed a 6-year public inquiry. You've heard all about it on the national news. It accused cladding manufacturers of systematic dishonesty and found successive governments had ignored, delayed or disregarded concerns about safety. Well, for people here in the North West, living or working in buildings with unsafe cladding, the inquiry highlighted the serious safety concerns that continue to blight their lives. As Phil McCann reports.
Greater Manchester, a city region transformed by new tower blocks, and old tower blocks transformed by cladding. Much of them safe, some of them assessed as potentially unsafe. And for those living in them, there's the memory and the fear of what happened in West London at Grenfell.
In many ways, I don't live in central London in Kensington, but I do feel like I live in the shadow of Grenfell. That's a really good way of describing it.
Josh lived happily for years here at Skyline Chambers in the up-and-coming Noma district in central Manchester. But after Grenfell, buildings with cladding were reassessed for fire safety. Here, the external walls were judged to be a very high risk. Then nearly a year ago, the fire brigade said the risk was so serious they couldn't stay.
You do find it very, very difficult to sleep at night, and try and forget that. You see a building in its entirety on fire, and it results in 72 fatalities. It was horrific.
Today's report looks back to this fire at Knowsley Heights in Huyton, the first time there was extensive spread of fire through external panels. That was in 1991. Today's report says there were many opportunities for the risks of those panels to be identified and action to be taken. Paul owns 2 flats at Skyline Chambers that he was renting out.
Obviously it's an absolute disgrace. There's red tape that's basically been cut by the authorities, and health and safety issues that have just been completely ignored. And here we are with 5,000 buildings now affected with these cladding issues.
There is, of course, a huge financial impact too. Marion lived in this, the green building in central Manchester, deemed a fire risk so she could live in it but couldn't sell it.
What I don't want is my children inheriting a liability. I don't blame people not wanting to buy my flat. Who would want to buy somewhere that's considered dangerous?
Remedial works are now going to be done here, funded by Taylor Wimpey, which built it. It says its buildings complied with the regulations in place when they were built. New laws mean flat owners don't have to pay for lots of that work, but there are exceptions. Giles is a Cladiator, fighting to get more defects fixed by building owners under government schemes.
We've still not got to a point where everyone can say, right, I know what the issues are at my home, or if I know it's safe. If there are issues, I know who's going to pay, who's going to fix it.
Wallace Estates, which owns Skyline Chambers, has signed legal orders outlining how this building is going to be fixed. Of course, today's report wasn't about the money. It was about how hundreds of thousands of people have been plunged into worry and limbo across the country, and how 72 people in one tower block in West London died avoidable deaths. Phil McCann, BBC North West Tonight, Manchester.